Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Happy Janmashtami to everyone. So, as we know, before Krishna appeared, Vasudeva and Devaki were taken in procession during their marriage by Kamsa, and that Akashavani had come and told Kamsa that, you fool, the child of this your sister, the eighth child of the sister, will kill you. You'll be dying in the hands of that son of this your sister. And then, as we know, Kamsa imprisons them, and Vasudeva, somehow to avoid the dangerous situation, he gives a promise to Kamsa that I will deliver all the children. Please spare our lives, the life of your sister. So Vasudeva comes and gives the first child to Kamsa, and Kamsa, he becomes soft-hearted, looking at the honesty of Vasudeva, and he tells, it's okay, the eighth child is the one that is dangerous for me. I don't want to do anything to your first child. I'm happy with your keeping the word. And then Vasudeva becomes surprised, and anyway he takes the child back. But meanwhile, Narada Muni enters the scene and informs Kamsa that, all these demigods, the devatas, are appearing in the Vrishni and Yadu dynasties, and they're all scheming to kill you. So be careful. And in your previous life, you were Kalanemi demon, and you were killed by Lord Vishnu. And moreover, he says, yes, you were told that the eighth son of Devaki will be the killer of you, but if there are 8 numbers like this, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is the 8th one. But if you count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so the first one becomes the 8th one. So you have to be very careful. So now one may wonder why Narada Muni, of all the people, he is the most saintliest of all the people, the pure devotee of the Lord. Why would he encourage somebody to massacre somebody else, that to the small children? So without going to the backstory, actually these 6 children of Devaki they have a history by which they are cursed to die in the hands of Kamsa. Moreover, the Narada Muni wants to accelerate the appearance of the Lord, and for ending Kamsa's atrocities, and for bringing joy and happiness to all the devotees of the Lord. So that is why Narada Muni did what he did. And then Kamsa goes and starts to mercilessly kill all these children one after the other, and he kills 6 of them. And when the 7th child appears, Krishna orders Yogamaya that Lord Balarama has first appeared in the womb of Devaki. Please transfer him to the womb of Rohini, who is staying at the shelter of Nanda Maharaj in Gokul. And then you appear in the womb of Yashoda Devi, and I will appear in the womb of Devaki. And then the 7th pregnancy, everybody thinks, because Lord Balarama is moved to Rohini's womb, they think she's got a miscarriage. And then Krishna appears as the 8th child. And there Bhagavatam describes the appearance of Krishna beautifully, just to show that it is not an ordinary human being. Krishna is not ordinary at all. Bhagavatam says, Tamadbhutam balakamambujekshanam Chaturbhujam Shankha Gadadyudayudham Srivatsalakshmam Galasobhikaustubham Pitambaram Sandrapayoda Shaubhagam Maharya Maharhavaidurya Kirita Kundala Tvisha Parishvakta Sahasra Kuntalam Uddama Kanchi Angada Kankanadibhir Virochamanam Vasudeva Aikshata. So Krishna appeared like this. Tam Adbhutam Balakam, this wonderful child, not an ordinary child. He had wonderful lotus like eyes, Ambujekshanam. He appeared with 4 hands. Which newborn child will appear with 4 hands? Chaturbhujam, and these 4 hands having Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. And Srivatsa Lakshmam, his chest was marked with Srivatsa. And Galashobhi Kaustubham, his neck has this brilliant Kaustuba gem. That is, these Srivatsa and Kaustuba are specific only to Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu in Narayana, in the Vaikuntha planets. Pitambaram Sandra, he is dressed in yellow garments. Payoda Shaubhagam, his body is blackish like a dense cloud. Tvisha Parishvakta Sahasra Kuntalam, he's got his scattered hair fully grown. And Uddama Kanchi Angada Kankanadivihi Kirita Kundalam Vaidurya, he's got a valuable gem, Vaidurya, that is specific only in Vaikuntha. And he's decorated with armlets, bangles, brilliant belt, and ornaments all over the body. And in this way, as Vasudeva was and Devaki were observing the child, he appeared very wonderful, Adbhutam. So this is the Lord. The Lord, however he appears, in whatever form, whether as a child, whether he acts like a baby, or in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, or in the forms of Narasimha, or Hayagriva, or Matsya Kurma, in any form he appears, the Lord is always the Supreme Lord. He always does super excellent, superhuman activities. Even though he appeared like a human being, it is said, Gudaha Kapata Manushaha. He appeared in the garb of a human being. Atimatyani Bhagavan Gudaha Kapata Manushaha. And he performed, Atimatyani means superhuman, transcendental activities. And then Krishna is born, and Krishna and Vasudeva and Devaki start to pray to the Lord. The Lord has appeared. And then, out of paternal affection, they ask the Lord to become like a normal child in order to protect him, because they think, oh, if Lord Vishnu himself had appeared, then Kamsa will definitely cause danger. Out of paternal affection, nobody can kill Lord Vishnu, can cause danger to Lord Vishnu. So Krishna becomes like a baby just to deceive Kamsa with his Yogamaya. And Krishna orders Vasudeva to carry him to Gokul and place him in Nanda Maharaj's house next to Yashoda Mata, and bring the Yogamaya instead. And Vasudeva obeys the order of Krishna, and miraculously the prison house gates open and the security guards go to a deep sleep, and Vasudeva crosses Yamuna in the midst of thunderstorms and the water overflowing, and Vasudeva, out of faith in Krishna's words, he starts to walk, crosses Yamuna. Actually, Yamuna water is overflowing out of love for Krishna. The Lord has appeared, and the water is trying to touch the feet of the Lord. And so the water is going above the head of Vasudeva and trying to catch the feet of Lord Krishna. But look at the faith of Lord Vasudeva. In the words of Krishna, he carried out in the middle of so much of difficulty. And he succeeded in obeying the Lord's order. He placed him next to Mother Yashoda, where everybody was fully asleep, and brings Yogamaya. And there, everybody thinks Yashoda Mata had got a male child the next day. And we know Kamsa comes and takes this baby and then sees that it is a girl child. Unbelievable. And the girl child, as the moment he picks her up, she slips out of the hand of Kamsa and chastises him and tells him that the child who is going to kill you has already appeared elsewhere, much to the disheartening of Kamsa, and the Yogamaya disappears. And then Kamsa becomes quite morose and he starts to scheme. He starts to kill all these people with the evil advice of all his associates. He wants to kill all these babies born in the vicinity of Mathura, and he sends all his demon associates like Putana, Shakatasura, Trinavarta, and so on and so forth. As we know how Putana comes to attack Krishna, and Krishna, just to show that he is the Lord even in the form of a baby, he kills Putana, Shakatasura, Trinavarta, all these demons, even before his name-giving ceremony happens. That means probably days old, Krishna is hardly days old, you can count on your fingers, and Krishna started to kill the demons. A small baby. We know how he killed Putana, how he killed Shakatasura. Trinavarta started to take Krishna away in the form of a hail storm. And Krishna became so heavy that Trinavarta could not lift baby Krishna. And he falls down from such a high distance and falls down dead. And then everybody who are restless, anxious where Krishna has gone, and who has seen that this demon has taken away Krishna, and somehow by the mercy of the Lord Narayana, this demon had been killed, and somehow they protect Krishna, and Mother Yashoda takes Krishna in her lap, starts to feed him, and then Krishna opens his mouth and she starts to see this enormous universe inside the mouth of Krishna, the universal form of Krishna, the universe within the Krishna's mouth, and she starts to bewilder what is happening. Just to show that Krishna is not ordinary, even as a child. And then the Yogamaya covers up Yashoda's love for Krishna, and then she comes back to her paternal affection and starts to chant mantras, starts to pray to Lord Narayana for always protecting the child. And then the next day, Garga Muni comes to Krishna's house, Nanda Maharaj's house, and Nanda Maharaj requests Garga Muni to perform the name-giving ceremony for Krishna. And Garga Muni says, actually, if I perform the name-giving ceremony, I am the priest of the Yadus also, and Kamsa will think Vasudeva only had sent me to you. Actually, Vasudeva only sends Garga Muni to Nanda Maharaj. So, if I do that, Kamsa will definitely get a doubt that the priest of the Yadu dynasty is going and doing something, therefore it must be belonging to Vasudeva, so your child will be at danger. So, Nanda Maharaj agrees. He says, okay, so let's do it in cowshed. So they go to the cowshed, Goshala. Just see the Lord's, the Supreme Personality of Godhead's appearance or the name-giving ceremony is done in his most favorite animal's place, the Goshala, cowshed. How dear the cow is to the Lord, it is shown here. And so Garga Muni starts to name these children, both Balarama and Krishna. And Lord Balarama, first he names as he is He's the giver of pleasure to all his devotees, Rama, and he is extremely strong, Bala, so Balarama. And then he unites these two families, Nanda Maharaj's family and the Vasudeva family. So therefore he is Sankarshana. Three names he gives. And then coming to Krishna, Gargamuni says, this boy, he has taken different bodily complexions in different yugas. Gruhnatonu yugam tanuhu shuklo raktas tadhapita idanim krishnatam gataha. So he appeared earlier. First he appeared in the form of white, in the color white, and then he assumed the color red, and then yellow, and now he has assumed blackish color. Idanim krishnatam gataha. And Gargamuni also says this boy was formerly the son of Vasudeva. So indirectly he says this is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. But Nanda Maharaj does not know. So he says, therefore his name should be Vasudeva as well as Krishna. Some people will call him Krishna, some people will call him Vasudeva. But one thing you must know, he says, this son has had many other names and activities due to his different pastimes. The Supreme Lord, he is, who can name him? He is unborn. So he does not have a name like how our name is given. But he is named after his beautiful pastimes. Devaki Nandana, Yashoda Nandana, Partha Sarathi, Radha Vallabha, Gadadhara, Narayana. In this way, the Lord is given so many names according to his wonderful pastimes. And Gargamuni, after naming these two boys, he gives Nanda Maharaj a further hint that his son will also be called as Giridhari because of his uncommon pastimes of lifting Govardhana hill. And then he said, I know everything about this child's activities and name, but others do not know. The child will be very pleasing to all the cowherd men and cows. Krishna is called Govinda, Gopala, one who gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. He is Go Brahmana Hitayacha. He is the one wishing well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas. And he is very popular in Vrindavana. He is the cause of all good fortune for you. And because of his presence, you will overcome all kinds of material calamities despite opposing elements. See what Gargamuni is promising. He said, Krishna will be the cause of all good fortune for you. So just like Nanda Maharaj, if we also become attached to Krishna, become devoted to Krishna, he will be the cause of good fortune for us also. And because of his presence, you will overcome all kinds of material calamities despite opposing elements. So when we take shelter of Krishna, there will be no material calamities despite opposing elements. In fact, Bhagavatam says how the Vrajavasis, they never felt any material tribulations. Iti nandada yogopa Krishna Rama katham muda kurvanto ramamanascha navindan bhava vedanam. They said, Nandadayo Gopaha, this Nanda Maharaj and these associates of Nanda Maharaj, they were always Krishna Rama Katham Muda. They were always Muda, enjoying Krishna Rama Katha, the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Always reciting and always taking pleasure in discussing the wonderful activities that Krishna and Balaram did. And in this way, Navindan Bhavavedanam Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindan Bhavavedanam. Na Avindan, they did not experience Bhavavedanam, the difficulties of this material world. the tribulations of this material world. So the formula is that if we immerse ourselves in discussing, in reading, in reciting, in chanting the glories of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, particularly by chanting of this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and by reciting from this Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we will also na avindan bhavavedana, we will also not experience any material tribulations. And Gargamuni continued to tell Nanda Maharaj, O my dear king of Raja, in his previous births, this child many times protected righteous persons from the hands of rogues and thieves whenever there was political disruption. Your child is so powerful that anyone who will become a devotee of your boy will never be troubled by enemies. See, anybody who becomes a devotee of Krishna will never be troubled by enemies. Just as demigods are always protected by Lord Vishnu, so the devotees of your child will always be protected by Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The child will grow in power, beauty, opulence, in everything on the level of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, I advise you that you protect him very carefully so that he may grow without disturbance. So, Gargamuni, in this way, he gives the names of Krishna, he predicts so many things. And then, in a very short time after this, both Krishna and Balaram, they start to crawl on their hands and knees, and they were pleasing all the inhabitants, their mothers. The bells tied to their waist and ankles, they started to sound fascinatingly, and they moved around very pleasingly. Sometimes, just like ordinary children, they would be frightened by others and would immediately hurry to their mothers for protection. Sometimes they would fall into the clay and mud of Vrindavana, and they would approach their mothers smeared with clay and saffron. They would crawl, and Mother Yashoda and Rohini would take them on their laps, covering the lower portion of their saris, allowing them to feed from their breast. And the mothers would see the small teeth coming out as Krishna and Balaram were growing up. And sometimes these Krishna and Balaram would crawl up to this Goshala, cow shed. They would catch the tail of the calf and stand up. And the calves would get disturbed and immediately start to run. And the children would be dragged over the mud and cow dung. And to see this fun, Yashoda and Rohini would call their neighboring friends, the gopis, and they would all see this wonderful pastimes of Krishna and Balaram and would be engaged, merged in transcendental bliss. So, you see, this is the transcendental, highest transcendental bliss one can ever hope to achieve. The Gnanis and Yogis are trying to merge into the impersonal effulgence of Krishna in hope of enjoying the transcendental bliss. But they don't understand that the bliss of Krishna consciousness, even a drop of which cannot compare with the bliss of merging into the impersonal effulgence. And Krishna actually comes, even though he is unborn, he is the Supreme Lord who always lives in his Golaka Vrindavan, out of his causeless mercy to deliver those who are struggling in this material world. To deliver them, Krishna comes just to show his pastimes. He exhibits his pastimes of loving relations with his mothers, fathers, friends, lovers, his servants, displays enormous, innumerable pastimes. Lila Kallola Varidihi, it is said about Krishna. He is like the ocean, waves and waves of pastimes he displays. Why? To attract the conditioned souls, to show that the real life, real bliss is in his association, not in this material world which is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. So, on this occasion, Janmashtami occasion, you should remember that Krishna has appeared. He is appearing in every universe. Today is Janmashtami here. Actually, Krishna is appearing in one of the material universes. And tomorrow is Janmashtami is happening in another universe. Day after Janmashtami is happening in another universe. So Krishna's pastimes are eternally going on in this material world. Krishna is doing this to attract these conditioned souls, to give his association so we become pure. Krishna is like the fire, and anybody who comes in touch with the fire will also become warm. And our sinful activities will become diminished. And when we associate with the Supreme Personality of Satchidananda Vigraha, we will also acquire those qualities of Satchidananda Vigraha. We can associate with Krishna by the deity form of Krishna, by Bhagavad Gita, by Bhagavatam, and particularly in Kali Yuga by chanting the holy name, which is non-different from Krishna and is the easiest and best forms of associating with Krishna, particularly this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So on this day, one should take the opportunity to chant as much as possible. If possible, do the service to Krishna in the temple, recite from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. If you can do the fasting until the Lord appears and try to take advantage of this appearance day where the Lord is extremely benevolent. You can make tremendous spiritual progress. Krishna Janmashtami Mahotsav ki jai, Sri Sri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Nithai Gauranga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you everyone. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.